Welcome back, Cubs. This video, we're going to go over a couple of the review problems from Chapter 8, Section 2 to give you a little hand. So we're going to be discussing some of these problems right here that are due Wednesday by 3 p.m. under the assessments. You're going to want to have your Predicting Products Quick Reference Guide handy and your textbook. So just a reminder, this is the quick reference guide for predicting products and the different chemical reactions. So this will be useful for you as we continue with this practice review. So let's jump into it. If we take a look at 2B, so 2B gives us the problem 2 moles of lithium plus 2 moles of water will react to produce 2 moles of lithium hydroxide and 1 mole of hydrogen gas. So the problem is asking us to find or classify each of the following reaction. So if we take a look at what our reaction is here, we have A plus Bx giving us Ax plus B. So if we look at our quick reference guide, we try to match that up. And what we find is for the single replacement reaction where we have Ax plus Bx yields Ax plus B. It's also found in the lecture. So what we have here is a single displacement reaction. Single displacement because one thing is being replaced. So on your assessment, you would write in single displacement, single replacement, your choice there. Okay, let's take a look at 3C. So 3C, what we're given is, we're told that it is a double displacement reaction. And we are given the starting reactants, HNO3 plus CaOH2. And then we're just given a blank here. So we know that double displacement reactions start off with Ax plus By. And remember, we're going to do outer. So Ay, cations are written first, plus Bx, the inners. So in this case, A, we'll go ahead and write this down. A is H plus, X is NO3 1 minus, B is calcium, and Y is OH. So we're breaking it down into its parts so that when we combine over here, we can correctly write the chemical formula. So A was H plus, Y was OH minus 1. B was Ca2 plus, and X is NO3 1 minus. So remember, when we're writing the chemical formulas here, we want to make sure that we are doing the switcheroo correctly. So we have H1, OH1. Now we don't need to write the 1, so we have HOH. HOH is also known as H2O, water. Calcium has a 2 plus charge. Nitrate has a 1 minus charge. So the 1 crosses over, drops down. The 2 crosses over, drops down. Just the number. Remember, not the charge, just the number. So now we have Ca1NO32. After we do the switcheroo, we can clean it up. We have CaNO32. So now when we write out our balanced chemical equation, we still have our reactants here. HNO3, nitric acid, plus calcium hydroxide. will react to produce H2O, water, plus calcium nitrate. So now that we have our equation, our products written correctly, we need to go back and now balance the equation. So step 1, predict the products. That's what we did right here. Step 2, now balance the equation. So we have hydrogen, nitrate, calcium, and hydroxide. Hydrogen, nitrate, calcium, and a hydroxide. So nitrate on this side we have 2. On this side right now we only have 1, so we need to change the coefficient. Remember, we can only change the coefficient. Once we have the proper chemical formula, we can't change subscripts. We can only change the coefficient. So we put a 2 in front of our nitric acid, and that gives us 2 nitrates. Calcium, we have 1 calcium, we have 1 calcium. Now, we said water is H2O, but it can also be written as HOH. So on the right side, we have 2 hydroxides, and on the left side right now, we only have 1 hydroxide. So if we put a 2 in front of the water, we now end up with 2 hydroxides. And then we're left with hydrogen. We have 2 hydrogens here, and we have 2 hydrogens for the water. Now I'm only counting the hydrogen that's by itself. I'm not counting the hydroxide because we already accounted for the hydroxide hydrogen down here. So it's just those 2. And now we have a balanced chemical equation. So we can rewrite it as 2 moles of nitric acid plus 1 mole of calcium hydroxide react to produce 2 moles of water and 1 mole of calcium nitrate. Okay, let's take a look at one more problem here. We've got 4b. So 4b says that we have NaClO3 in the presence of heat. So when we start with just one compound, that's going to be a decomposition reaction. So if we refer back to the quick reference guide for our decomposition reactions, we can acknowledge that NaClO3 is a metallic chlorate. So metallic chlorates decompose into a metallic chloride plus oxygen gas. So metallic chlorate decomposes into a metallic chloride plus oxygen gas. So the metallic chloride here, the metal is sodium, chloride is Cl minus. So when we do our switcheroo, we end up with NaCl plus oxygen gas. So we have sodium chlorate decomposing to form sodium chloride and oxygen gas. Now, it's not balanced. That's okay. First, we need to make sure that we have the formulas written down correctly, which we do because we did the switcheroo, plus oxygen gas. So now we can go back and balance the equation. So we got sodium, chlorine, oxygen, sodium, chlorine, oxygen. We have 1 sodium, 1 chlorine, 1 sodium, 1 chlorine, 1 chlorine. Okay, so now we have oxygen. We got 2 on this side, 3 on this side. Those aren't equal, so we need to balance these out somehow. So what I like to do is look for a common multiplier here. If we put a 3, we end up with 6 oxygens on the right-hand side. And if we put a 2 on this side, we end up with 2 times 3, 6 oxygens on that side. So now we have our balanced not balanced, but our oxygens are balanced. Anytime you change a coefficient, go back and check your other substances. We have 2 sodiums. Now we need to put a 2 as our coefficient in front of NaCl. Just a reminder, we can only change the coefficient. Once we have the right chemical formula, that has to stay the same. We can change the coefficient though. So now we have 2 sodiums, that 2 distributes, and we have 2 chlorines, that 2 distributes, we have 2 chlorines. So we've got a balanced chemical equation there. So what we're looking at is, for our answer, 2 moles of sodium chlorate decompose in the presence of heat to give us 2 moles of sodium chloride plus 3 moles of oxygen gas. So for your homework, you will need to put in the balanced chemical equation for problems 3 and 4. It'll be a blank spot on the assessment where you can type in this value. If you are unable to write subscripts, it's okay to write them in line for the time being. So if you write something like this, that is acceptable for the time being. Also, with this reaction arrow, make sure you're using the arrow, not an equal sign. So the arrow can be written as hyphen, hyphen, and then that arrow symbol there. Okay, guys, let me know if you have any questions. Email me. Don't forget to join Remind and keep utilizing that discussion board. Have a great day, Cubs.